Alrighty, guys, here we are for part two of surviving a Chris Cheng coloring tutorial. Chris Cheng, I should say. Oh my goodness, look, we got through part one. I was really tired, emotionally drained. However, I feel like that was not even scratching the surface compared to part two. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for all the love and all the comments in part one. You guys were amazing. I loved hearing everyone's thoughts, and so many people were relating to my experiences, which was awesome. So here we are for part two. So we're starting off with these lovely, they look like mini pomegranates. Not quite sure exactly what they are. Little berries. They're really cute. These were fun to color because they were done really quickly. So just before we get too into it, just so you know, on purpose, I don't provide the color combinations and I don't put the colors on the screen in this video because this is not a tutorial on how to color step by step with the pencils. If you would like that, you do need to head to Chris's original video. Now, the reason why I haven't put the pencils up is because I don't want new subscribers to be confused between this being my original tutorial and Chris's. I do want to redirect traffic back to Chris's video because she is the original creator and the mastermind behind all these lovely colors. This video is purely a commentary. It's hopefully something that can inspire you and give you some creative energy to tackle these pages yourself and provide some tips and tricks on how to approach these type of tutorials when you're watching them. So just in case you're wondering why, there's why. If you're also wondering if you've got more questions about my videos, you can head to a recent post of mine that I've put up on my channel about the type of videos that you can expect from my channel if you're interested in following along with those. So here we are with our beloved Prussian green, which is the main color for the main green color for both part one and part two. And I'm really enjoying this Prussian green combination with, I think that's lime peel and a chartreuse. And we do add in more greens as we go, but the Prussian green is certainly the main one. And let me tell you, my Prussian green, usually I haven't had issues with it since I've had my Dial 133 sharpener, but for some reason, I think I went through about 2 to 3 Prussian greens on this whole page because I just had issues with cracking. I found that I had to end up, when I wanted to sharpen, I had to stand up and take the Dial 133 and the pencil sharpener over to my kitchen bench and stand up. I'm wondering if when I was sharpening on my table at my desk, if I was actually just turning the crank too hard and perhaps I was breaking it. I'm not quite sure, but I found that was a solution. But yes, I have chewed through so many pencils. Oh my gosh. So by this point, my muscle memory is feeling pretty good in terms of being able to follow how she colors. I'm certainly feeling more aware of not pressing too hard and where needed, holding my pencil back further. So thank you guys for all your amazing suggestions and tips and tricks that you guys have found helpful as well. Those were great. So I've really enjoyed getting people's takes on it. So I've been able to apply some of those to this page. So I found a lot of it easier. There was a whole section that I really enjoyed because I found that I was focusing less on how to use the pencil and more about the color placement. And I was really excited to be using these bright spring colors. Now, if you've done this tutorial before, if you've done the top half of this page, you'll know that she draws in quite a few little leafy things and a rainbow. I don't draw in the rainbow. I'm not even going to try. I can't even draw the leafy things. I think I tried to. And then I was like, you know what? Nah. I know my weaknesses. I'm going to stick to what I know. So, yeah, no rainbow for this one, but I feel like we had enough going on in the background and with the clouds and the sky and the beautiful green everywhere to fill up enough space. And I'm kind of wondering, maybe for my first Chris Cheng tutorial, maybe I should have started an easier page. I know she does have easier pages out there that use a lot less pencils. I'm currently writing down all the colors that I've used just for my own records and looking at the pile of pencils that I have and looking at the ones that are left in the trays. I reckon we've used half, if not a little bit over. Oh my goodness, having problems with my focus there. Oh, heads up too. About 2/3 of the way through this video, I switch over to my new camera setup. So I'm currently, this image that you're watching now, I've been filming it on my iPhone 16. However, it's not my favorite. I feel like the images work well for watching content on things like a phone. And the color's okay, but I feel like because majority of my viewers are actually watching me from their television. So I've just upped my setup a little bit. So we'll change it. So apologies in advance if anything's clunky. It will get better. It does happen with any technology change and any new kind of learning. But no, I think we're all good. But I think, yeah, it was the combination of that and also trying to complete this page that was just really throwing me. I love what we've done with the green here in the background, just providing this beautiful, vibrant green color. So this is with the Prussian green and the chartreuse, and we're introducing a bit of apple green, which I really like. I had so much fun with blending and layering these, and I feel like my blending is getting better, guys. So since you guys have been giving me some tips and tricks, I feel like, yeah, I'm a lot smoother on the top half here, but I just love this technique so much. This is a technique that I know that I will bring over into my other coloring pages because I feel like I've got a good muscle memory with it now. I feel like I don't have to try and think too hard about how to do it. And so for the sky here, we've actually been going in with a light blue and then with a very light violet color. And I like how we've been creating some beautiful clouds with this. And my clouds are not as straight as I would like them to be. I know that I can't draw in a straight line. So I'm just like, yep, it's going to be what it's going to be. Oh dear. And I have noticed too that in part one, we had a lot of jumps between sections. So we would learn one section and then when it was repeated somewhere else, suddenly it would just appear. Well, I'm assuming Chris has done it this way so that her video isn't like 20 hours long. But there is more on the top half. There are more objects that just appear and they're colored and we're coloring them off camera. But because I've already done that in part one, I feel like I can better manage it in part two. There were certainly a couple of areas on this top half that I've been completing in this green section that were just suddenly there, but I felt like I knew enough to go along with it. So here we are, trying to draw in some of these leaves. And look, yes, they look okay. Like, they're not too bad. I think it's just, I don't know. I don't know, but I was just like, you know what? Nah. So I decided just to leave these two and not draw in the rest because when we were factoring in drawing in the other ones, we were going over a lot more other colors and it wasn't just in a blank space that we were drawing them and I actually just couldn't cope with it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do what I can because I have to get through this whole page and I knew that we had more bricks to do and bricks just give me nightmares. So oh, this is doing what we could. It's so funny because as I'm talking to you, I literally finished the page 2 hours ago and I was actually close to nearly I like almost being a bit teary about it. Not because I was sad, but it was like a mixed emotion of being relieved because I think I've spent 20 hours on this page all up just looking at my footage. It's about 20 hours. And of course, this is why I speed it up so that I can talk to you for a nice hour instead of talking to you for 11 hours, which is what the top half of this page actually took me. So, yeah, I think it was just 20 hours of learning that was done that I think I just found a bit emotional. I love this leaf combination here. Pale Sage is one of the most utilized pencils in my pencil set, and I find just burnishing with the lightest colors is a really nice way just to get that soft effect. It is a method that I'm used to using, so I was quite comfortable doing the burnishing effect with the leaves. That there wasn't too many layering laps going on. We had about one or two, so I was comfortable with that. But there was certainly many other areas, especially when we get to the castle, where we would blend, burnish, and then repeat that, and then repeat that, and then repeat that. So for me, it's not something that I would usually do, but I was happy to have a go at it. Happy to have a crack. We did achieve an amazing amount of depth, I will say, so there is a benefit to it. I think also what helped me at this point was the shape of my pencil really helped. So being able to provide or lay down this smooth color, having a really good like flat, not flat pencil, but just nothing pointy going on, just nothing too, I had no scratchy bits in there. So I felt like that really helped. I certainly felt more connected with the paper at this particular point, especially with that green part up there. And this is certainly the first time that I've created a cloud effect or a sky effect. I usually don't do skies. If I do, potentially I would just pastel it, or it'd be Neocolor or something else. I've never done a sky like this, so I was really happy to be able to learn this skill, and it's something that I hope that I can build on and apply some, yeah, further skills and further development too, I suppose. And one thing that I do really admire about Chris is her ability to, number one, balance a page with all the colors, but also know how to blend and layer them and know what works. So combining blues and greens for your leaves and the different shades of greens and how to balance the flower colors with the leaf colors is just incredible. So I was really blown away by how amazing everything looked. So blending in a lighter green here. Now I think from memory, oh, chartreuse, yeah, I think so. If you've got Prismacolor pencils, then this is chartreuse. If you don't have Prismacolor pencils, this is a... Sorry about that cut there, guys. I had huge problems with, yeah, my phone focusing. It would just... Because you can set the phone to, like, autofocus on the middle, but then all of a sudden it'd lock the autofocus and the whole thing would be blurry. But anyway, here we are. I love these flowers. And you can see I have completed some down in the corner there, so I do apologise that there was a bunch of that was not shown. Yeah. A few recording issues with this, but I absolutely love and adore these beautiful flowers here. This is we've got lovely pink layerings, and all we're doing is just firmer pressure on the outside and working our way in to provide some lovely light in the middle. And I'm just going through and completing each flower one at a time, and then I think once they're all done, I think that's when we go through and darken everything up and use those beautiful greys and blacks to really enhance everything. And I got to bring out my gel pens, even just for a little bit, just a little bit. And of course, sometimes just using white to blend and burnish is all you need. Sometimes we don't need to use other colors to blend and burnish. We can just use white because it's going to mix all of that color pigment together and create a whole nother shade. I just love how glossy these look. Ha ha ha. I really enjoyed these. And having that beautiful rich purple center as well. I think, yeah, I just found the top half of this page so much more visually appealing because I am drawn to lighter colors and more spring colors, as you would know. If you've seen a lot of my completed pages, you would know that I just like, yeah, unicorn pages, unicorn colors everywhere. What I really liked about these leaves is that we weren't, see the leaf lines that Johanna has drawn in. We used them, but we didn't. We went over them. Sometimes we coloured them in, sometimes we didn't. And I love the effect that has come out as a result. I love being able to use both. And even though I was having issues with my Prussian greens at this point, and I think that's why I get so wiggly with it, I really just loved drawing that line in the middle and following the contour of the leaf and contouring the shape and just letting Johanna's artwork just enhance it and her line work enhance it. And that definitely is an approach that I have to Kirby pages, and I love that we've applied it to Johanna Basford's here. So what I'm doing is I'm just playing around with different shading. Most of the time I'm following Chris Cheng as exactly as I can. Other times I'm just winging it, depending on how big of a section she colours in a take before I pause and then continue. So yeah, I did freestyle more of this than I did the bottom half. So I think that just kind of was an indication to me that I was starting to become more confident with tackling this kind of page, and I was building up that muscle memory. So I will be hopefully coloring leaves like this in the future. Hopefully I remember. I'm sure I will, because I really enjoyed this part, and I love just the difference between that super dark green and then that white section, which will be burnished. I really found that it helped me enhance my creativity, because just because something is there doesn't mean you have to color within those lines. You can work around it, and it's really up to you how you want to make that work for you. Again, I love the green and the pink combo. I love how both of the types of greens and pinks work together. And there's my gel pen. I've just literally got like a neon jelly roll yellow and just dabbed them in the middle. I think Chris used a yellow Posca pen. However, me and my yellow Posca pen aren't on speaking terms at the moment, so I used a jelly roll. And the result was just as nice, if not a little bit brighter, because it's like the neon yellow. It's the fluoro one. They look really nice. I'm definitely going to do that in future ones. Even flowers that size, because they're kind of like a medium-sized flower. I wouldn't consider them small. In Johanna Basford designs, they're certainly a medium. So yeah, love those. And I really enjoyed how we're just colouring some simple objects as well. So those little drop flowers that we've just done, those are literally just 2 colours, and it was so great just to be able to go burp and one little flower was done. And apply all the complex shading to the rest of it and the contouring. And again, I think I followed the same format for part 2 that I had in part 1. So I would just watch a colour, then pause it and continue. Sometimes, depending on how long the colour was for, and if I felt I could remember how the colour was placed, I may have waited 2 colours, but it did depend on how long, because there was sometimes where I just couldn't remember where bits were placed, and I found I had to like scrub back, which is no issue, of course. But for me, I was like, well, I may as well just, rather than trying to scrub back and have to like watch over things again, I may as well just, not bite off more than I can chew, really. And while I was working through this, I did have more ideas of what we could do for that page on the left there that's under my hand. I don't think I'll be touching that for a good while. I have written down all the colours, and I think, like I was saying in part 1, if you're wanting to replicate and bring over the colours to that first page on the left there, all you probably need to do is watch the tutorial again, and just where there's the same elements, just copy them over and apply them to the element that you're colouring. Even in the frame here, I can see that there's, so those yellow the leaves that have the yellow flowers, they're already there. So you could just copy that across. There's a whole bunch of new elements, but yeah, I'm thinking that would be a fun experiment to try perhaps later on in the piece. I feel like I need a good break for a few months and just to get back to my, I don't know, just the way that I do things, I think. I've definitely felt like I run a marathon and been training for a marathon and that there was no warm up. It was just jump right in. And again, just surprised at the sheer amount of mental exhaustion that I felt. So if you feel mentally exhausted and very emotional when you complete these kind of pages, just know that you're not alone. I feel the same way. And if you do too, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know how you feel when you complete pages like this. Do you feel empowered? Do you feel a sense of accomplishment? Do you feel drained? Do you want to cry? Do you drink wine? Do you eat? Is it all of the above? I know that I'll certainly a few of these things. But I think all in all, I've been really happy with the way that many of these elements have come out. I don't think there's one thing though that I would look at. No, there is. There's a couple of things that I would look at and go, oh, bleh. If I had my time again, I'd do it differently. But it's only a couple of things. One of those being the night skies at the bottom. And I think I mentioned that in part one. But I also think for this top half, probably some of my blending between the blue and the green as we transition from the trees and the flowers to the sky, I probably could have been a bit smoother with. But again, I think it's because I'm following a tutorial and my attention is divided. I think that's potentially why. So I struggle to hold my attention with things at the best of times. I find that for me to hold attention, and to focus, I need to put in like 150% brain power. So I'm just taking what I can. And the fact that I was able to complete this, even though the whole page took me about 20 hours, I'm just going to take that as a win. But I think if this was something that I was doing on my own, say if I was filming a color along or if we were doing a full page tutorial, I might give it a little bit more thought potentially. Yeah, it's so hard to know, isn't it? It's so hard to know in hindsight how you could have treated something or what you could have done better because you're just doing the best that you can do in the moment. And speaking of doing the best you can do, I find it really difficult to get my pencil into the spines here. I could have rotated my book, however, because I was filming, to me, it was just too difficult to try and turn everything around. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try and squish it. So I tried and it's looking okay, but I don't know. I think sometimes you get like the feel of the pencil can just feel off and it makes you not connect with what you're doing as much. So I felt like that was a thing too. There were certainly moments where the pencil just felt bleh, and I was just like, I just want to get over this bit because everything feels gross. And yeah, I felt like it was just me in that corner. But I feel like I'm always like that with spine stuff. The thing that I do like with Johanna's later works is that her illustrations aren't as toward the spine as they used to be in her older illustrations. I do like that we have more room to play and there's more space to omit pencil or add other mediums. It's probably not in terms of her wallpaper type pages, that's probably not applicable, but yeah, but I think because for this there was just so much color and we were bringing the colors right to the edge. It was kind of just unavoidable. And layering that black, this is something that I've always been too scared to do often. I have done it before. However, it's not usually something that I would reach to because I've just been so heavy handed with the black. However, I feel like this page has taught me how to handle my dark grays and my blacks so much better. I feel like I can blend with them so much easier. I have a better relationship with my darker colors. I have a better relationship with my pencils when it comes to blending and layering, which for me is a huge win. And yeah, I'm just not like, I know they look fine, but it was the vibe of the thing, if that makes sense. I wasn't feeling it. And I know I didn't draw it exactly like the bottom of that top drawing. I just didn't get right. And this was one of my favorite leaves to do. So this type of leaf, this shape, is my favorite one to color. And I loved how we just started from one side and worked our way over and we got some really great results. Now, I think Combining blue and green, again, is not something that I have normally done in leaves. I think I've done it maybe a couple of times, but it's not traditionally a go-to, but I really like the result that we got. I like how you can get this really muted green tone without having to bring out your kelp greens and your moss greens, which can kind of be a little bit browny sometimes. And it's a good option if you've run out of your Kelly green and things like that, just to create something that's nice and muted and lovely. So, say if you want to add it with some pastels. So, that was the Prussian green first, and this is the good old powder blue, which got a real workout on this page. And again, I was just trying really hard not to go too heavy handed with it, which is a lesson that I have learnt from the bottom half of the page. And then going in with another layer of the green. And then we add more layers on top. I think we add like an apple green or something when I'm talking in the Prismas. Again, guys, if you are looking for the specific colours and the combinations of any different type, please head over to Chris's original video. I will link it in the description for you. I do want to pay as much credit to her work as possible, so hence why I don't put them there myself. Because, yeah, I don't want people to get confused with, because there might be some people who actually haven't seen Chris's work before. So yeah. This is not mine. This is all Chris Cheng. This is I'm learning off the master artist. Oh, I just love these leaves were just so great. I was really, really happy with these. Let me know in the comments if there are certain types of leaves and flower shapes that you really enjoy coloring, and let me know what author, what illustrator as well. So for me, Johanna Basford leaves are my favorite. Hence why, yeah, I have huge plans for Magical Jungle. I just never get around to it because other things keep popping up. But I will get there. I will. Hopefully for May. Hopefully for May. Which is tomorrow. May is tomorrow. It's gonna be May. It's everywhere. Everywhere on the socials at the minute. Oh, it's just so nice. I thought, just trying to remember, I thought we applied another colour, but Oh, and that funky shape there of the Prussian, that was me trying to sharpen a new one, but not sharpen it too much so that it didn't crack. I was like, whoo, it was delicate there for a while. Oh yeah, the apple, that's right. Yeah, that the apple green in the Prismas is really, it just really marries those two colours together and just makes it pop. Oh, so good. I love a leaf. Love a leaf. I think these particular leaves weren't filmed on camera on the original tutorial, so but I think they were easy enough to be able to replicate because there was only a few colors in them, and because the shape is fairly easy to follow and there wasn't anything too crazy that we were drawing in ourselves, unlike these flowers. I really struggle. I don't know if you guys find this, but I really struggle when it comes to drawing in contouring lines on flowers. I'm fine with contouring with shading. When it comes to adding in extra detail, I find it really difficult to make it look, I don't know, make it look natural almost. I'm sure it's fine, but yeah, I was like, oh, do we have to? But yeah, again, with just, I just love these colors, like these beautiful purples, and combining pinks and purples and reddy purples opposed to pinky purples. Just, no, wait, that's the same thing. Huh, no, combining like bluey purples with reddy purples. No, wait. I don't know. There's different types of purples, and I'm trying to think of like how they're different, but oh my gosh. Uh, oh, guys, you can tell that I've just had my absolute fill of information. Can I even word today? No. These flowers were okay. They were kind of fun, but I think we did so many layers. I mean, they looked beautiful in the end, but I think I was just by like layer 10, I was just like, I don't know. I think just because I can get impatient sometimes. Again, because of the way that I usually color, I only do one or two layers because I blend and burnish. So this is me just adjusting to a new technique. I'm sure that if I was colouring with polychromos, for example, that I would layer more, and I plan to, I will purchase some. I'm just, yeah, they are an investment. I think I want to buy the polys and the Albert Duras at the same time so that I can use them together to create some vibrant colours. But yeah, it's going to be like a $700 investment, so I'm just waiting. I loved adding these purples in here. Oh, so good. I forget what colour this was, but I just love the combination of pink and purple and blue together. As you'd probably know by seeing a lot of my stuff, it's like, oh yeah, she's using purple again. What do you know? So surprised. Oh, that's right. This is what I loved about this flower was this, I think this is carmine red. Yeah, some kind of really bright pinky red. Just beautiful, adding it in over the top. Just the different tones. This reminded me of Rita Berman stuff. I know that it's probably very tame in terms of the Rita Berman like color combinations that are out there. So adding things that are on all spectrums of the color wheel into one combination. But I was really happy about it because I find that kind of style, I really like it. I just find it really intimidating because I haven't done it before, but I'm sure the more I do, the more I'll like it. But I do want to experiment with multicolor elements. One day I will. One step at a time, one step at a time. Gotta crawl before I can walk. And the good old lime peel. This is just such a versatile colour for something that when I originally saw it in the Prisma set and I was like, that looks like boogers, I don't want to use it. I use it all the time. And adding in that beautiful black. I could just go in and just, with that black pencil and just add shading for days. And I think, so that's not the black. When I was using the black, I have the most tiny stub of a pencil and it has just held its shape so well. I didn't need to change it, which was amazing. Given how much shading we did, and I do like using this Palisade here to blend into the blue. That just went really well, and it was very easy to draw in that little segment of a leaf there. I was like, I can do that. I've got this. I just drew a line. I was like, oh, yes. I felt very empowered with that. I don't know why. I just felt very empowered because I drew something and it looked to my satisfaction. Let me know in the comments if you guys like drawing into your coloring pages, if you like drawing extra elements, if it's something that you are good at, or if you would like to develop the skill, let me know. I'm just so interested in people's thought processes with this because I struggle. And I really admire people that can do it really well. Like, oh, skills. This was a flower that was not coloured on screen and I just had to eyeball it. So what I've done is to me, it looks like the same colour as those little berries up the top. And it looks like there was a bit of chartreuse thrown in there too. So I am just making it up. I'm just picking out my reds and picking out a really yellow green and just hoping for the best. And adding shading where I can. Because I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, it looks like there's a lot of black and grey in here. So I encourage you to just, if there's sections that you're not sure, this usually means that it's artistic learning time and let's put the theory into practice. And she's teaching us how to actually apply the knowledge that we've already learnt. So if you see something that's red and you're like, I don't know what to do, grab the red pencils that you've already used and have a play. That's certainly what I've done with this. And for all of that section below my hand, so those little piney trees and everything below there was done was not filmed. So it was a real creative stretch. And I think I got it. Like I think it's pretty right, but I think if you're using colors that are already in the colors that you've used, so they're already in the pile, then you're going to win anyway because it's going to be cohesive. So you've got nothing to lose. And whether or not that was intentional of her was to not film certain sections that we've already used the color combinations for as a way to encourage us to have a go. At first, I was like, I wish that wasn't a thing, but after I've done the page, I'm really grateful that that was there, that I had an opportunity to have a go on my own because it was just kind of like jumping off a bit of a ledge and seeing what we could do. And I was really surprised at the fact that it was achievable. I felt that I could complete these things and I didn't feel like I was just, a fish out of water. So, yeah, I was actually really grateful for that. And yeah, I didn't think that I would be. And that particular section above the castle, but that's okay. I wish I could have blended that properly, but I think because there were leaves drawn in there and I just wasn't thinking I just wasn't thinking and it just didn't. I brought out the darker color too far. I could have gone down further and just kept going, but I don't know. I just did what I could. It's fine. It'll do. And again, I constantly have to remind myself that it's just pencil. So if I do something and I don't think it looks too crash hot, it's okay. And I don't need to think too badly of myself because I definitely do. I can definitely get super self critical. And if I don't nail something and I'm just like, oh, well, that sucks. But getting out of that behavior, these little trees here again weren't filmed. So I was going off, I was eyeballing it. It was a very muted, darker green. And so I was like, what have we used for muted greens? Prussian green. And then we've also used our blues and we've used our greys. So I'm going to give it a go. And yeah, I like the way it turned out. And I think knowing your pencils too and knowing what colors they are by rote helps. So I know apple green when I look at it. Say, like just in a color swatch, even if the name wasn't there, I know what it is. So I'd be able to look at, say, a color cube card and go, that color looks like apple green, that color looks like spring green. So I think knowing your pencil colors and learning them by rote and having them in your head helps when it comes to trying to copy coloring where you don't have it listed, if that makes sense. So things where we're coloring just by a reference, it does help to know your pencils, and that just takes time. So my other sets of pencils, my other sets of pencils, I don't have that relationship with because I don't use them as often as I do the Prismas. I'm hoping that the further that I get into my journey that I'll be able to remember all of my lovely colours by rote, but at the minute it's just the Prismas. And it's really just a variation on the theme here. So I know we've got different coloured leaves and sticks and twiggy bits and all that, but we've really got a selection of, say, 5 or 6 greens, and it's a combination of both. What really makes it pop is, yeah, adding that black, adding those cool greys, the warm greys, whichever way you want to go. We certainly didn't use the whole selection of green. So just by adding a few different types of green in, we're able to make all these beautiful different varieties, and it just helps simplify it as well. So even though we had like 6 greens or something in the whole thing, 4 of them were really the main ones. We use spring green occasionally, and we use lime green, lime peel. Was it lime peel? Yeah, occasionally too, but the main ones were the Prussian green, the apple green on this top half, and the chartreuse as well, which chartreuse is a yellowy green color, which I really like chartreuse. Oh, and I really love adding in little brown bits on leaves. Do you guys do that? If you do, let me know in the comments. I love adding in little brown bits. I don't do it as often as I would like because I think it can be overdone. It's really easy to overdo it and make your leaves look too crispy. But I love just pops of it here and there. So great. I have no idea what colors were used here. I just picked my hot pinks and my warm pinks that were already in my pile because I saw it there. I was like, you know what? This is what it is. I don't know. And I think, like, yeah, I think it's mainly right. I think hard to know. I mean, it was hard to know whether I should have gone in and shaded with a different color. Apart from black, who would know? But I think overall, it's come out really well. This is where I was adding in some of that spring green as well. I think we've just got like dapples of it, just little bits of bright green. Ta-da! Oh, the first little bit of footage looks a bit interesting, but it gets better, I promise you. I think this is just representing of how I'm feeling about doing these freaking bricks. I hate doing bricks. I never want to see a brick again. I'm going to play around with brick stencils. I know, yeah, like it looks good in terms of this, but it's so tedious and I can't draw straight and I was just not happy with it. And I was like, can this be over? And I remember legitimately feeling like I just wanted to just not even continue to film the part two. Honestly, like I'm not just saying it just to sound dramatic or anything. That's exactly how I felt. Was that I actually just wanted to not film and just go, can we just be done? Because these bricks were doing my head in, and because I think I was like stopping and starting so much because I was just getting used to this new setup. So if you are a content creator and if you have switched from iPhone to a new camera setup, you will 100% know how I'm feeling right now about trying to just get your head around videography and how to just make it work for this kind of thing. So I do change the camera angle here. But focusing back on the bricks, there are so many different colors that we are picking up here. So we've got some dark browns, some grays, we've got like eggshelly beigey colors, we've got some orange, we've got even a chestnut, so like some reddy browns. And at this point, I could not remember if we were going to brick up the whole castle. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, if the whole castle is brick, then I'm not going to do half the castle in brick. I'm going to change it. And I was already thinking of ways that I could change it because I was just not happy about it at all. I don't know what it is. I think it's just all the little bits and how it's all dotty everywhere. And I didn't give it as half as much of attention as I should have. I really didn't. I should have, like, maybe I just should have put some nice lo-fi on or, so just some chill music and just calm it down a notch or two. But I just really struggled. Luckily, luckily, we did not do bricks for the entire thing. I really enjoyed the stonework above. So on the turret above, where there's like a section of round stones. That I loved. That was great. If the whole thing was that, I would have been happy days. But drawing my own bricks, nah, couldn't pay me enough. You couldn't, like, maybe you could bribe me with a bottle of wine or a case, but anything else, no. Genius idea with these little windows though. So see how I'm coloring some of the windows and I'm leaving like this little line, this gap, and it looks like a little window indent, window sill thingy, like a recess. Oh, love that idea. I'm gonna, yeah, because I've always struggled to think, how do I make my little windows look more interesting? Because usually I'm like, color them yellow, blah blah, and that's it. But I love how Chris has done these. So this is a little skill that I will be taking into my other coloring pages, little tidbits that I can put in my little bag of tricks. And by the time we got to the shading, so when I started to, like, we're shading the wall as a whole and not focusing on the little, like, brick by boring brick, I was getting in a better mood. I was like, yep, no, we've got this. We can do this. Look how far I've come. Let's keep going. And I was just trying to champion myself to finish it. So I don't know why. I don't know why it was bothering me so much. I think by the time we got to these big sections, it was smooth and it was one color. I was like, yep, all right. And I still had no idea what was next because I couldn't remember the color, because when I look at the page initially, like, your brain only brings in so many details at once. Like, I certainly can't remember what everything looks like. I couldn't remember what color the roof was. I couldn't remember what color anything was. Yeah, I was so glad when it was not brick. I could have paid way more attention to this door, but I think I was actually just feeling so ticked off that I was just like, nah, this is getting what it's getting. I don't care. I was in a real sassy mood for this section. That's what bricks does to me, guys. Oh, I really enjoyed this part. I think it was because the lines were already there, and all I had to do was focus on the shading and the contouring of the stones, and I loved the way that they were looking. I was like, yes, I'll have more of that. Yeah, and adding in the shading. It was just really intuitive for me, and I was just getting in a really creative flow with it, and I felt like I wasn't just drawing tiny little boxes and then adding it more here. Yeah. And I just love how bright and summery this page is looking. It's just, and I think because I'm feeling like we're on the home stretch now, and because I had so much fun with these types of bricks, I was like, yep, these stones, love it. See, like, why couldn't the whole thing be that? Like, wouldn't that be amazing? But I get it. The brickwork is nice and soft, I suppose. And maybe it would look too stony if the whole thing was that. But maybe in future, I could draw stones with fine liner and then color them in like that, opposed to like drawing in bricks with pencil. Maybe I'll do that. And again, with this pink blushy horizon color, again, that just appeared. So I've just again just used the pinks that we've already used and tried to match the tone. I was getting pretty excited when we pulled out a peach pencil here. I was like, oh, does this mean, oh my gosh, is the castle going to be pink? Because I couldn't remember. And so I was starting to feel a sense of hope and renewal. And then I was definitely getting excited when I was like, "Oh, it's not the sat just that section. There's more. There's more." Eehee. Yeah, I love the peachy colors. And then we combine the peach with a baby pink color, and then added in some grays and just layered it up until we got some really deep looking tones. Again, just the way Chris is able to imagine this in her mind's eye and know what colors to layer and know how to blend things and to make a castle that if this was in another page that I probably wouldn't give that much attention to. The amount of detail she gave it was incredible. I'm certainly one of the reasons why I did this page was so that I could learn how to do architecture in more of a interesting way, because when I imagine how to do it, I just go, "Meh, don't know," and I usually just give it a couple of shades and that's it. But I feel like I've learned a lot. So just to recap with the things that I've learnt. So I've learnt how to create those like solid color backgrounds and how to shade those and add depth. I've learnt how to do architecture better. I'm getting better at being able to eyeball what colors what, and I'm getting better at with leaves not necessarily following the lines that the illustrator has drawn in. So I have, as much as this page has certainly just had me on an absolute emotional roller coaster, and I don't just mean to say that to like, sound interesting. I'd actually so much emotion, and I was not expecting it. And so, as much as I felt all the things, it's like high risk, high reward. And so, I certainly felt like I've learnt the most that I ever have in one page out of this particular one. So, yeah, it encourages me to follow more tutorials, but I will span them out because I feel like if I do too much of them in a row, I'm just going to lose the joy of it, and I'll end up just hating the things. So, I'm going to be wise about it. That's one lesson I've learnt for myself as well, is just to be wise and space myself out. And I think that's a lesson that I do really need to learn. But, and I think too, like for all of us, just being really aware of how certain things make you feel and how you're responding emotionally to different types of art that you're doing and different forms of creativity, and really just being able to use that to guide you into your future creative decisions, I think is really important too. It helps us kind of determine how we want to tackle things going forward. In my mind's eye, ideally, I'm like, oh, I'd love just to be watching tutorials all the time and just get really like just grow really quickly and blah 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 blah. However, after this, yeah, it's just not sustainable for me to just to like follow tutorials 24/7. So, yeah, personally, I have to mix it up. And these little turret roofs were super fun too. So this we just added in they were super quick. We've like added in 1 to 2 layers of red. We've burnished one side with a like a light creamy color, and then a darker side, and then we just go over it again. So super easy. Again, if you want to learn how to do these and you're like, oh, you see that's so quick, head to Chris's original tutorial. I really had fun with this. I think this was permanent red and carmine red. No, carmine red's more pinky. Anyway, it was two really like fire engine reds. I think sepia potentially. So again, I'm talking Prismacolors here, and I do end up going over with a black and just deepening it up even more. But these are really satisfying to color. I think again because the bricks were so fiddly and these were so big and quick to color, I think I just had so much more fun and I was starting to get my little mojo back, which was good. It's just really interesting the things that we're coloring and the emotions that we feel, and I suppose that's the whole point of like art therapy, isn't it? And creative therapy is just to explore the different emotions that come up for you, and sometimes you don't need to know why. Sometimes, like it is what it is. Like I can't fully understand why bricks drive me nuts. I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't really. And I don't know if I'll ever know. So it's more just like it is what it is. Now, at some point, my camera will go flat. Yes, I wasn't paying attention to it because it does, at the minute, it charges slower than it actually uses film. So, or uses power, I should say. So, we do have more like battery bits and bobs on the way. It's so funny when you change your camera setup. It's like, you don't just, it's not like, oh, here's a camera and off you go. It's like there's the camera, then you got to get the monitor, and then you got to get the power adapter, and then you got to get the SSD cards, and you got to get more storage, and like so much stuff. But I'm having so much fun. It's so great. And these little flowers too, again, weren't there. However, I've just tried to copy the flowers above it with the little yellow centers. So again, just picking up the materials that we've already used and having a crack. So again, huge thank you to Chris Cheng for providing these amazing tutorials. Her skills are next level. I know that a lot of you guys that are watching my videos already know how amazing she is. So yeah, huge thank you to Chris for this. She has, I think, if you're interested in more of her Johanna Basford stuff, I think there's about 78 videos in her Johanna playlist. So there is a plethora of great content available if you're after different things. So I know that once I've chilled out a bit, that I will be going back for more, potentially in a few months. We'll just see how we go. Yes. Oh, this bottle was really fun. So we did like a galaxy effect in it, and I didn't know, again, like it was one of those things that I'd forgotten what it was going to look like. And so I was just flying by the seat of my pants and was really happy with how it came out. It didn't look as neat. And I think I was trying to use a gel pen, and then eventually I switched over to a Posca pen because I just could, because there was so much pencil wax on the paper that it just wouldn't do a straight line. See, it's just nah, couldn't get it. So I just switched over. There we go, so much better. And I end up outlining the jar as well because that's just how I like to do my jars. I don't like my jars to have black lines. I don't know why. It's just creative preference. So yeah, I reckon that jar's got to be one of my favorite things. I would like to try that in a sky, like a little sky. I don't think I would do like a whole page with that. But yeah, there we go. And there we have our completed page, guys. So sorry for that huge cut there. I did have my camera die. So there we go. There is our completed page. Marathon complete, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this huge journey. I am never going to be the same again. Hope you've enjoyed watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.